Hello and welcome to another episode of Enter the Minds of Nadine and Vera podcast.
Hello.
Hello, guys, and thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to talk about something very dear to my heart. The subject today is fibromyalgia. I have fibromyalgia, and before I go too deep into it, I want to kind of define it. It is a disorder characterized by widespread pain, mood, sleep, and mood issues. So I was first diagnosed with fibromyalgia when I was about to get out of the military. I was 22 years old, and now I'm 43. So I've been dealing with it for about 21 years. And like I said, it's characterized by widespread pain, severe fatigue. Um, you know, one day, Kayla was 2 years old, 2.5 years old. I woke up one morning. I was in the Air Force, could not get out of bed. Just by moving, I was in excruciating pain. I was in tears. I was wondering how I was going to take care of my daughter. I had never felt this kind of pain before. I didn't know what was going on. And when you're in the military, even when you're sick, you have to go to sick call. So there was no not going to sick call. You go to sick call or you go to work. I literally had to call my boss and said, I can't even get to work, so I don't know how I'm going to get there because I can't move. Um, but eventually, after a day of this, I was able to, see my doctor. They referred me to physical therapy. The doctor with fibromyalgia, it's very hard to diagnose. Now, in the most recent year, within the last 20 years, it's becoming more well known. But when I first got diagnosed, the doctor even said, this is a it's not really well known, but I think you have fibromyalgia. He touched some of my tender points or trigger points. Like, they check different points, and there's a bunch of points in your body. And if it's tender to touch, that's the indication that you might have fibromyalgia as well. So he initially referred me to physical therapy, and physical therapy is supposed to help with the pain. And then I got out the military. After about a week or so, I was fine, or I appeared to be better than I was. I got out the military, and I really didn't think about fibromyalgia again. Okay. Then after William was born, and I was still having pain. I was still having fatigue, but I would just like take some Aleve or ibuprofen and keep it moving. I just didn't think anything twice about it. But after William was born, I woke up again and could not move. My brother literally had to pick me up out of the bed so I can go to the bathroom. And then I was about 24, 25, and then that's when I really started taking it seriously. Went to another specialist in New Orleans and was diagnosed yet again with fibromyalgia. So at this point, I realized I really do have fibromyalgia and I need to take it serious. When at that point, I started on my journey on trying to figure out what medications would help. But before then, I just was like, okay, it was out of sight, out of mind. Yes, I'm tired. Yes, I need a nap. But I didn't think anything twice about it. But it's very scary. It's very isolating. And I just have to learn how to deal with it. Okay.
Fibromyalgia is often described as an invisible illness because its symptoms, including chronic pain, fatigue, cognitive difficulties, are not outwardly visible, making it difficult for others to understand or recognize. Like Vera said, before she was diagnosed, years before that, doctors would tell patients that there was nothing wrong with them because they couldn't see it, they couldn't put their finger on it, and patients would walk away thinking, I know something is wrong. Why are they telling me that there's nothing wrong? I actually had a couple of colleagues who went through that experience. And so some of the challenges of an invisible illness is like lack of understanding because the condition is not outwardly visible. People with fibromyalgia may face skepticism or disbelief from others who don't understand the severity of their system. You know, when you're in the military, they're quick to say, oh, it's nothing wrong with you. You're just faking. But it's real.
Now, I will say, at the beginning stages, my family didn't understand either. I would send them clips or articles about fibromyalgia so they can kind of understand what I was feeling. They knew that I wasn't feeling well, but they didn't understand the graphs of how um, unwell I was feeling. Not my family, but some people, when you say, oh, I'm just severely fatigued, I'm severely tired, I just cannot. I don't have any energy. Some people would just tell you, get some rest. Once you take a good night's sleep, you'll feel better. But with fibromyalgia, even taking a nap, even I have insomnia issues. So first of all, I don't sleep very well, maybe 5 hours, but my sleep is not restorative. So I'm still waking up feeling tired, and not know or not knowing how I'm going to feel when I wake up. So it's hard to make plans that way as well. But Wayne was probably about 8 years old, and you know how kids are; they're very honest. Well, with Kayla, and I need to backtrack. You know, I had more energy with her. William kind of took a lot. That pregnancy took a lot of out of my body, and he wanted to go outside, and I was like, you know, not right now. I'm tired. I don't feel well. And he made the comment, "You're always complaining that you don't feel well." I literally sent him an article, made him read it, made me write me a report, just so he could understand what I was feeling. And then, but from that point on, I tried to make it a point. Um, Not to complain. I don't think that I was complaining. I was just stating the obvious that I wasn't feeling well, but I tried to make it a point not to complain. And not just with fibromyalgia, a lot of people with chronic illnesses, when people ask you how you're feeling, we say fine. And 9 times out of 10, when someone says fine, they're hurting. They just don't want to burden you with how they're truly feeling. Um, we always have a smile on our face. I'm telling you, when I was younger, I was the most positive person, and I still try to be. Not doing it as well as I did when I was younger, but I try to have a smile on my face, especially when I'm in the presence of others. And when I'm really irritable and in a lot of pain, my mom can tell you, I really just want to be in my room alone watching TV because TV kind of helps me cope. But I want to back up. Some people say that fibromyalgia, and there's still a lot of research that needs to be done. But some people say, some research says that how you get fibromyalgia is like a traumatic event that happened into your life. It doesn't have to be a traumatic event, but that's one of the things that could happen. When I was 17 years old, I got in a very bad car accident. And then also giving birth at 19 giving birth could be a traumatic incident to your body. So I'm not exactly sure when or what triggered fibromyalgia, if I've, at what point I got it or when I was, truly diagnosed with it. It was 22, but I probably had it before then, and it just got worse.
But Tanya, you know what? It was heartbreaking for me as you educated us on what it was to learn that you are always in pain. That is so heartbreaking because I don't want that for you.
Well, I will say that, Mom, you do it very well. My whole family understands it better now. Um, they don't let me get away with a lot of stuff, but Mom always checks in. She checks in and see how I'm feeling today. How's your pain level? She doesn't. Basically, with fibromyalgia, we just want you to listen, to understand us. We don't need you to do anything for us, but to just understand when we say we're tired or we're not feeling well, to believe us and that we're truly not feeling well. Mom is really good about saying, is there anything I can do today to help you feel a little bit better or to make your day easier? Um, the kids, if we're hiking somewhere or going somewhere, they're always looking back to make sure that William walks really fast. He even slows down to make sure that he starts walking on my pace to make sure that, I'm not in too much pain or not too tired. So I do appreciate that. But it took some time because as I was learning about it more and more, and when I started taking it more seriously, they understood it a little bit better.
because it says social isolation. It's like the chronic pain and fatigue associated with fibromyalgia can make it difficult for individuals to maintain their social lives and participate in activities they used to enjoy. So you might be quick to say, well, when my kids were in high school, they did 8 mile parades during Mardi Gras.
Right.
And so I could easily say, well, you used to doing it.
Right.
But then and now is two different things.
And I will say that my friends today and my friends over the last 20 years, they understood the social isolation. Like, you really can make plans for Friday night, and then when Friday comes, you have like this guilty, you're judging yourself because when the day comes, if you're not feeling well, you don't want to cancel plans on your friends. But I have really good friends to where if I really don't feel like going somewhere, they kind of understand, okay, you must not be feeling well. But you never know how you're feeling day to day, so it is really hard to make plans.
Well, I'm old, so I can relate to that.
Mhm.
I don't like to make plans that are hard, a week later because you don't know how you might be feeling. And then there are emotional impact that a person with fibromyalgia have to deal with, like living with an invisible illness can take a toll on an individual mental and emotional well-being, leading to feeling of frustration, isolation, and depression. And that comes from, wow, I don't want to let my friends down, or I don't want to let the family down because we had planned to do this. But it's okay to say, hey, you know what? I'm not really feeling it today. Let's reschedule.
And you said depression. I feel like in my life I've had moments of depression, but my depression was because I was in a lot of pain. That's when I felt. That's when I feel the most down. When like when I couldn't run after William as much as I did with Kayla. Not being able to go as much as I want to. I still do everything that I need to do, but sometimes I don't do all the things that I want to do.
Because you did a lot for your kids. I didn't see the slowdown with the kids.
And then I guess also when it comes, as I'm getting older, I feel like it is getting worse. Um, but I just want to say that I'm a nurse. And so working on a nursing floor, and this was in Louisiana, not here in Tallahassee, but in Louisiana, some nurses didn't believe people with fibromyalgia either. So when I first got diagnosed, my friends knew, my family knew, but just people that I worked with, I didn't tell them because I didn't want people to look down at me or judge me. And so I really kept it to myself. But one of my colleagues, who was a good colleague of mine, we had a patient come in with fibromyalgia. She was in a lot of pain, and the nurse said, I don't believe that she has fibromyalgia. She's faking it. Like, she didn't believe fibromyalgia was a real thing. And just her saying that, I was like, why would I want to tell her that I have it? Like, so I kept it to myself for a long time. But now I tell anybody and everybody because it's my truth. And um, we look like we're okay on the outside, but on the inside, we're struggling.
So, Tanya, what are some of your biggest challenges with fibromyalgia?
I think my biggest challenge is, number one is the pain. And then number two, not having the energy that I used to have. And, I want to do a million things in a day and I might only end up doing two. Um, my challenge is I work during the week and then on my off days, um, I learned that I have to rest, and that's okay to rest. It doesn't make me lazy to rest. It's like, I call it recharging myself up. People with fibromyalgia calls it, um, they use the spoon theory, like, okay, I don't have that many spoons today, but you really have to recharge your battery so that way Monday morning, I can go back to work and start the week over.
So that would fall under some of your coping strategies. What are other strategies you use to cope?
My coping strategies is, TV like really distracts my brain. It helps me not think about the pain. Um, and that's another thing I didn't mention. You're constantly in pain, 100% of the time. Now, we have flare ups. So some days it could feel worse than others. But like right now, my pain level on a normal day is a 5 out of 10. I can handle a 5 out of 10 on a pain scale. When it gets to an 8 out of 10, my smell goes away. I'm a little bit more irritable. Mom can tell. She can see that I'm like shifting on the couch too much, trying to get comfortable, shifting in the bed, trying to get comfortable. Um, but it's always there. It's always a part of us. So my coping mechanism is distraction, laying in the bed, resting, music, spending time with family, like just being around my kids. That makes me happy. That kind of distracts me. My kids are entertaining and funny, and um, so those are some of my coping mechanisms.
So, how do you feel about your treatment plan that you have in place?
Well, when I first started, I'm the type of person I used to didn't like taking medications at all when I was younger, and like I said, around 24, I started taking it seriously. The doctor prescribed me this medication or that. And for whatever reason, some of the medications would make me feel severely nauseated. Some would make me feel not quite myself, like I was a different person. Some medicines make you feel even more tired, more fatigued. So, like if you're fatigued, you don't want to feel even more drained.
So
So
you
it took a
resort to not taking the medicine. That's the issue too.
so in my 20s to 30s, I would stop taking the medication if it stopped making me if due to the side effects I would stop taking the medication. And then when I moved here in Tallahassee, and that we've been here 10 years, I'm on Lyrica now. I take it religiously twice a day. I see a rheumatologist, and the rheumatologist is the one that manage your medications to make sure that the medications is working to the best of the ability. The medication doesn't take the pain away, but it helps manage it. I always tell mom, first of all, you only could get 30 days worth. So I get my Lyrica through the VA, so I have to make sure that I'm ordering my refills on time because you can't get like a 90-day supply and you have to wait for it to get in the mail. And I tell mom when I'm without my Lyrica just for a day, when I when I'm walking, it feels like I'm trying to walk through a wall, like my body can't move forward. And the Lyrica helps me move forward. It helps me, keep going forward one leg, one step at a time. So it doesn't take the pain away, but it does just help me, my body feel a little bit better. So it's not a complete science. It doesn't, nothing truly takes it away, but there's just different things you can do to try to manage your pain. And it's chronic. It's not curable. You just manage your symptoms.
So, are there any specific things you would like for me to do or be aware of when we're together that
No,
I may not be?
no, I think you do a good job at not overly asking me how I'm doing, but just asking me enough. I think that you do fine. I don't think there's anything else you need to do.
So, tell me this: what are some things that triggers your symptoms?
Doing too much. They say if you do too much one day, you're going to regret it the next day and you're going to need to rest. So, like going on a hike, the next day I'm going to feel it and might not be able to move. So,
Well, we love hikes, so
it's a balancing act.
yeah.
You have to move your body because if you don't move, it's not good. But if you do too much, it's not good. So you have to find that balance. And I think I do a good job most of the time of finding that balance of doing exercise or getting out and about, but also resting at the same time. Um, the past couple of months, we've been doing a lot on the weekends, and I'm just like, okay, this weekend I'm looking forward to just not doing anything on a Saturday and Sunday because it's like literally if I do something Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't feel refreshed. My body doesn't feel any kind of restorement, and I know the next week I'm gonna be in trouble. So it's a fine line of trying to find that balance.
Well, Latanya, you're really good at going to work. So that's why sometimes during the day I'll text you or I'll call you and say, how's your day going? Because you really fight it full speed ahead. So are there any days that you have felt like you just couldn't and you didn't go because you always going to work. So what's up with that?
Well, I joke and say if I get up and start getting dressed, I might as well continue to go to work.
I used to be that way.
Mom knows that if I can't get out of the bed, then it's really bad. But usually, like the last couple of years, it's not due to the pain, it's due to like another symptom. Well, if I have like a sinus infection, of course I might miss a day, but true fibromyalgia, pain doesn't stop me. The pain doesn't stop me at all, unless it's like severely bad. But no, that's not true. Migraines. A couple years ago, I got migraines, and that's pain. Every year, and I'm going to show you a list, I get a new symptom. And let me just tell you some of the symptoms that jumping ahead a little bit.
It's quite a few.
It's quite a few. And look at my shirt. This is a fibromyalgia shirt. But so some of the symptoms, and there's hundreds of symptoms, but there's just a few that I'm gonna name off. Tender joints, sensitivity to light and noise. I'm hard of hearing, but then sometimes the noise bother me, the lights bother me. Sciatica pain I've had, poor concentration, and so it is hard to focus when you're not feeling well, when you're in pain and can't concentrate. It is when you don't get enough sleep. Um, Nerve pain, that's the main symptom of fibromyalgia. You have nerve pain. Anxiety, I have anxiety. Aching bones. I got a knee replacement back in, first of all the stuff that I've had happen to me, I've had it happen to me at a younger age. I had a knee replacement at 42. I need another knee replacement on my other knee. Um, Insomnia, I don't sleep well at all. Widespread muscle pain, knee pain, restless legs. I'm always constantly moving, trying to get to that comfortable spot. So then don't make me have to get up and have to pee because that's very annoying once you get comfortable. Lower back pain I have, the migraines, arm pain, and that's just nausea too. Nausea is affected. I got vertigo back in like 2017. So I have not a nausea from vertigo and also from fibromyalgia. So I don't know exactly where I get the nausea from, but that's another symptom. But every year it seems like I get a different symptom, and it's really annoying because once I manage one thing, something else seems to pop up.
Yeah.
And irritable bowel as well. So I had to have a colon resection back in 2017, I believe. At 28, I got diverticulitis, and that's like the inflammation of your colon. That's the older person's disease. Usually, it's like older people when they have a colonoscopy. That's how they know they have what's called diverticulosis, which are little pockets in your colon. And then diverticulitis is when those pockets become inflamed, and you have severe pain in your abdomen. So that happened to me at 28. Then again 6 months later. And then, sort of changed my diet, like don't eat stuff with seeds or nuts. And I did not do that for the longest time and still kept getting it. And then in 2017, the doctor said, I got it like 3 times in a year. And the worst part with getting diverticulitis, I had to be on 2 to 3 different types of antibiotics at a time. And then that makes you feel drained and tired. So I got the colon resection. So I do attribute like all the little things that I've had. I blame it on fibromyalgia, whether it is or not. The symptoms kind of go back to me having fibromyalgia. So
So let's talk about some considerations that you would like to share with the audience that they should be aware of.
I think the number one thing that we want from our family members, friends, it doesn't, it's not as important, but family members, we want you to just understand us, believe us, just listen. Even if you don't understand it, read an article, ask questions. We don't mind you. We don't mind you asking us questions. You can ask as many as you want, but just be an understanding. Because fibromyalgia can be unpredictable. We can have mood swings and changes of energy levels. And when I am moody, I just try to go in my room and just be by myself when I'm that moody. The next thing it says, don't offer unsolicited advice. Okay. It says, unless they specifically ask for it, avoid giving advice or trying to fix our condition. We don't need you to fix it. You can offer help, but we don't need you to fix our condition. Um, One of my doctors just told me to be more positive one day when he was talking to me about my fibromyalgia. And I said, well, you don't know me outside of this office. My, coworkers, my family would tell you that I am a positive person. But to be honest, if you're in pain 24/7, you can't always be positive 24/7 hours of the day. No one can. And so that annoyed me when he said it. Be more positive and your pain will go away. That's not realistic. So, um, respect their boundaries. If they need to take a break or cancel plans, respect their needs. Like, don't judge them. You can hold them accountable. You can say, hey, are you sure you don't want to go? But if they're saying, like, really today is not, I'm not having a good day, don't take it out on them. Don't be frustrated with them. And I will say that I've had good friends to where um, have told me, if you need to cancel last minute, I'm okay with that. You just let me know. Very supportive. And I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, because sometimes I have to push myself, but just to know that people are understanding is very important. Self care, there's different things. Like my body feels tense all the time, so I try to do things to help relax my body. Sometimes I have to take it, like right now, my shoulders are tense. So I have to literally remind myself, okay, Latanya, kind of just sit back and relax my shoulders. Um,
Get a massage.
get a massage. That's good self care, but you have to be careful. Um, I can take pain since I'm in pain a lot, but getting like a deep tissue massage,
That's a no-no.
will actually make me feel worse the next day. So you have to, you can, a lot of massage places, if you tell me you have fibromyalgia, they know what kind of pressure to put on your body. So like I said, it's becoming more aware. I can't use um, when you go get your pedicures, I can't use those massage chairs.
Me either.
Because they beat up against your back and it actually makes me feel worse. Um, but like facials, because that helps with your head, massages, pedicures. I get the CBD pedicures that kind of like relax my muscles, taking deep breaths. Sometimes when my face is relaxed, my face is tight, my lips are tight, and I have to just tell myself, why does it seem like your face is trying to smile? So I have to relax my jawline. Um, so I have to just talk to my body, you know?
Like you say, you need us to pay attention to what is being said and show some empathy. In other words, um, I cannot say, Tanya, I know how you feel, because I don't. And for years, I thought, how did she get fibromyalgia? Is it something that I did? But she mentioned earlier that it could be a trauma that your body went through that caused you to have it. We still don't really know the cause when you think about it, because we do need to have more research done. But I'm the type mother, I just wish sometimes I could just take her pain away and carry it for her, to just give her a little break. And the thought of her hurting all the time, that's why every day is like, how you feel today? Are you in pain? Because she got the knee thing going. We exercise together. My grandson, her son, is pretty good at taking us to park and having us hike. But we understand if Vera say, you know what, I've walked as far as I want to go. I'm going to turn around and I'll wait for you.
Yeah, like a couple of weeks ago when we went to the Paynes Prairie National State Park, Mom and William, they hiked 8 miles. Me and my Aunt Deborah, we did 4. Okay, I knew that, okay, we did 2 miles up and we did 2 miles back, because I said, I might get to that fourth mile and might not be able to take another step. So while I know I can do it, let me turn around, and we end up doing 4 miles. But was I hurting when I was walking? Yes. Did I have to take, I'm on fibromyalgia, not supposed to take a lot of NSAIDs like ibuprofen, but halfway during the hike, I took me some ibuprofen so I could keep on going. And I had a knee sleeve on, my bad knee, to kind of keep my knee in place, and that kind of helped me able to walk a little bit longer. Excuse me. But just knowing your body and just listening to your body is very important.
So to be honest, Tanya, my knees, I had 2 knee replacements. Mm-hmm. My knees did not hurt me at all, nor did they swell afterwards. It was my back. Mm-hmm. So when you and Aunt Deborah turned around, I was somewhat relieved because poor William was going to have 3 of us to worry about. And on the way back, I really prayed every step of the way. Each step, I thank God because I didn't want my grandson to have to carry me back, which he would have if he, had to. So the next time we go on a hike, I'm going to have to reconsider how much I do because it could have been tragic.
Because you're strong. Mom has more energy than I do, so that keeps me going as well. And then encourage them to seek help. If you know someone who has any kind of chronic pain or any kind of chronic condition, you don't want to say you need to go to the doctor now, but just soft encouragement. Like I see a rheumatologist, I see my primary, I see specialist doctors when I need to.
Chiropractor?
I went to the chiropractor today to help adjust my lower back and my neck, and she always says, you're so tense. And that's one of the things, my body does not ever feel relaxed, So I've done acupuncture.
We have all kinds of things at home.
A massage gun.
And heated packs.
Sometimes ice packs, heat packs. You just have to do it all. And doing it all might help a little, but you do what you can do. But if they're struggling, just be a listening ear.
Well, Morgan Freeman said, I only get one life, and I will not let fibromyalgia take the joy from living it. So I'm not telling those of you who have fibromyalgia to do one thing or the next. But I want to say to you that you are brave and you are strong because you deal with stuff that the normal person don't deal with every day.
Yes. I just want to tell everyone May 12th is Fibromyalgia Awareness Day. Our color is purple, which purple is my favorite color. So purple, wearing the purple ribbons is actually Fibromyalgia Awareness ribbon, the purple one. And that's also a lot of the chronic pain or chronic illnesses is purple. And I just want to read something. The symbol of fibromyalgia is the butterfly. And it says, this was adopted as although a butterfly is light and weightless, it could still cause pain. Painful touch. I just want to mention that my brother used to come up to me and pat me on my back like that. And I used to say, ow. And he was like, I barely touch you. And I'm like, I know you barely touch me. But some days he do it, it might not hurt at all. But some days he do it, it hurts. And so it took him a while to understand that. So just, you barely touching me. Sometimes I don't want to be touched. I just want to read something that I saw online. It says, I have fibromyalgia. It's a long-term condition which can cause pain, fatigue, headaches, tingling, stiffness, brain fog, affecting temperature control, digestion, and more. Symptoms vary. Sometimes the slightest touch is agony. I'm not ill. My brain processes pain differently. Yes, it is why I need more rest and have mobility issue. There's no cure. It's just my normal.
Wow.
And one last thing I want to say, it's not a death sentence. It doesn't decrease your life expectancy. Thank goodness for that. But the one thing I think about is, wow, waking up every day for the rest of my life, say I live another 50 years, to know that I'm going to have to wake up every day for the rest of my life in pain is depressing. Honestly, it's depressing. So I try to just think of the happy moments to, like Morgan Freeman said, to the joys out of the little things and throughout your day and the the achievements, I try to celebrate that as well. I just want to say thanks to Mom for just being a great mother and, just being there for me and pushing me when I need to be pushed, but also encouraging me to rest when I need to rest. When the kids were little, she used to always say, I work 12-hour shifts, so I used to work every other weekend. So on my 3-day weekend, my weekend that I had off, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I would take the kids somewhere. And she used to always say, you need to take one of those days and rest and not do anything. But to be honest, taking my kids places, that gave me energy. When I was around the house, I feel like I didn't have energy, but just seeing their faces, their little faces, and they were happy, that gave me joy. And so that's why I did those things, because it really gave me joy and maybe distracted me for what was going on in my body. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of those activities was like, do you want to go to movies? Does it cause a lot of um, stress to your body sitting down in the movie theater? So just, you do what you can and just enjoy life.
And understand that we know that it is real. And all you can do is try to educate those who are in your circle so that they will have a better understanding. And when they don't, know that that's going to happen too.
And so if you have someone in your family with fibromyalgia or just chronic pain, chronic fatigue, give them a hug. Tell them that you're there for them. Listen to their story. Believe their story. Don't offer unsolicited advice. Just listen and just ask, is there anything I can do to help? And just be there for your friends and your family. And most importantly, I know that I need to be there for, show up for myself as well. We love you. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Enter the Minds of Nadine and Vera podcast. Please join us on Spotify and watch us on YouTube.
And if you have any questions or concerns, please let us know.
If you have any questions for me, I'm an open book. Mom's an open book, and we're here to answer any of your questions if you have any. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.